This section is about what we call point-slope form. So in the previous lessons we've had, we have been using what is called slope-intercept form. So previously, we used slope-intercept. So slope-intercept, if you remember, we had the form y equals mx plus b, and with the slope-intercept form, you were able to identify the slope and the y-intercept. So point-slope form is actually going to include a point and a slope. So I'll start by giving you the general formula. So what's going to happen is I'm going to ask you to write something in point-slope form, and oftentimes I'm going to give you one point and also a slope. Now there's going to be times when you have to write it and you have to find the slope, but you will always have at least one point. So here's going to be our general definition. So the point-slope form through the point x1, y1 with a slope of m is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So make sure that you have this formula memorized. One thing I want to note is that the x1 and y1s are coordinates of a point. The m is the slope. The regular y and the regular x just stay as regular y and regular x. It's the same thing as slope-intercept, where you have an equation, you have numbers, you have a y and an x. This is going to be similar. Now let's do some examples. For every example we do today, I'm going to ask you to write an equation in point-slope form. Our first one is going to be to write an equation in point-slope form that passes through the point 4, -3, and has a slope of 2. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is write out my general form of point-slope form. Now I need to figure out what is my m, what is my x1, and what is my y1. And if you remember in our previous section, the m is the slope, so that 2 is m. x1 and y1 are actually going to be these two coordinates. So all you do when you write this is you take your equation, you plug in the values, and you'll get your answer. By the way, we have a y1 of -3. Since we have a y1 of -3, what happens is it actually will become positive. So just keep that in mind as you're doing this, that if you have a negative, you will end up with a positive by the time the problem is over. And this is my answer for number 1. So now I want you to do one on your own. For this one, it's going to be an equation that in point-slope form that passes through the point -3, 1 and has a slope of -1/4. So go ahead, pause, and try this problem. Okay, as with the previous one, we're going to take our original equation and plug in the numbers. So my original equation is right here. My slope, my m, is -1/4. Luckily for this one, you don't actually have to do anything with that fraction. You just leave it there. My x1 is -3. My y1 is +1. All I'm going to do now is plug in those numbers. I end up getting y minus 1 equals -1/4 times x plus 3. So for these type of problems, they don't require a lot of work. This is actually all you have to do for those. You keep it in point-slope form. Make sure that you read the directions. They're asking you to write the equation in point-slope form, so your final answer needs to be in this form. Be careful about that. Make sure you write it in that form when they ask for it. So our next example is going to be the same idea. You're going to write in point-slope form, but now we want an equation that passes through -2, 3, and 1, -3. Okay, so remember, for point-slope form, you need two things. You need a point and you need a slope. We have one of those two things. We actually have 2 points, but we don't have the slope. However, if you remember from the previous section, the previous chapter, we actually have a formula for slope. So our formula, I'm hoping you recall this, is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to go ahead and just assign these points to x1, y1, x2, y2. So now you're going to plug those values in, find your slope. So you should end up getting that your slope is -2. Once you have that, then you're going to write your equation. So now sometimes people get worried on this one because there are 2 points, but you actually have 2 possible answers. So you can use either point. I don't really care which one you use. On the test on this or quiz on this, I will accept 2 answers for this problem. So you can put both. If you want to write them both, that's fine with me. But there are 2 possible answers. So I'm going to start by using the first point, -2, 3. And when I do that, I get y minus 3 equals -2, which is the slope I just calculated, times x plus 2. This is my first possible answer. Second possible answer is if I were to use the point 1, -3, I would get y plus 3 equals -2 times x minus 1. So, as I said before, I will accept both of these answers on every test and quiz, so it doesn't matter which one of the 2 you use. Next one I want you to try on your own. So it's going to be the same thing as number 3, but now I want you to try to find the slope of the line that passes through -1, -6, and 3, 10. In this case, I actually want you to write both answers. So go ahead, pause, and try it. Okay, so if you remember, your first step is to use your formula for slope and find out what you get for that. So I'm going to end up with 16 over 4, which gives me slope of 4. Now you can write 2 possible answers. The first possibility is y minus 10 equals 4 times x minus 3. Second possibility is y plus 6 equals 4 times x plus 1. If you got both of those, very good. So I will, though, accept only one of those answers on a test or quiz. I don't care which one you put. It's your choice. Our last type of problem involves graphing. So for this one, there are 2 methods that you can use. So I'll start with method 1. So method 1, you're going to start by identifying both the slope and the point that they used. If you remember, our form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So in this case, our slope, our m, is going to be 1/2. our x1, the first coordinate of our point, is going to be -2. Be careful because it is the opposite sign of the x1 in the formula, so we use the opposite sign. And our y1, since it's the same sign, is just going to be +2. So we know that we have those two things. We have our point and we have our slope. What you can do after that is you can start at -2, 2, then go up 1, right 2. Because remember, with our slope, top number, the numerator, is going to be the amount you go up or down. The denominator is the amount that you go left or right. So if I were to do it that way, I would go over to the point -2, 2. Then use my slope, I would go up 1, right 2, and I would end up getting a point right there, draw the line through it, and that's my answer. So that method, I think, it's often confusing for people, but it really is the fastest way to do it. So now, if you're super confused by method 1, you could try method 2. So method 2 is to take that equation and get it into slope-intercept form, which is something that you know and are hopefully comfortable with. So write the equation in slope-intercept form. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this equation and you're going to solve it for y. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. You're going to solve it for y and simplify whatever you can. So I'm going to start by distributing that 1/2. Now I'm going to move over my 2. When I do that, I end up getting y equals 1/2 x plus 3. And then you're going to find that that gives you a slope of 1/2, like we had before, and a y-intercept of 3. You'll find that the graph will look exactly the same. You might have points in a different place, but you'll have the same line, which is fine. So it's your decision which of those you want to do. If you like method 2, but you're not sure how I would graph it, I'd recommend you look at the video for section 3.5. But either way, either one of those is okay to use on a test or a quiz.